This episode is brought to you by Honda. When you test drive the all-electric Prologue SUV, there's a lot that could impress you about it. There's the generous passenger space, the clean, thoughtful design, and the intuitive technology. But out of everything, what you'll really love most is that it's a Honda. Visit honda.com/EV to see offers.
Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
All right. Welcome back to the Mystery Nation. Our guest on this episode, Janice Burt, also known as Spanish Janice, is a court-certified Spanish interpreter, voiceover artist, yoga instructor, author, and inspirational speaker. Having lived in Mexico City as a child, she acquired not only the Spanish language skills, but a love and appreciation for a different people group and culture. When she returned back to California, she attended high school and college, graduating with Spanish as her major and communication studies as her minor. She lived as a people pleaser, always trying to find her worth through other people's approval and validation. She also lived filled with fear. She wasn't even aware that either of those was true about her until after her divorce in 2012. During her marriage, she appeased and enabled her husband to feel good enough. She lost any type of sense of self that she'd had and wore a mask to fit in and belong. She unintentionally lied and manipulated to be liked and approved by people. Her life changed dramatically after her divorce. She hit rock bottom and was engulfed by sadness, anger, loss, and grief. She suddenly realized that she was going to have to take charge of her own life instead of blaming everyone else. She became aware of her subconscious beliefs of lack and limited possibilities. She vowed that she was going to put in the work to change these patterns. So without further ado, let's get Janice on here. Welcome back, Janice. We were talking about the internal strength of the human body and the human mind.
Yes, it's pretty incredible.
Yes, it is. I know we keep getting a little bump here, but we'll push through to try to knock this out real quick.
Sounds good.
So what's your next biggest goal as you move forward?
Oh my gosh, you won't believe what I've just signed up for. And certain things just pop up and, I'm not even really planning them. And I just am open to what's out there. And then these opportunities come up. So I have a friend on Facebook and she put a post, this is only like 3 days ago, where she said, hey, I'm looking to sponsor a woman to compete in the Las Vegas Women Over 40 pageant. And she's like, I already bought the ticket, so that'll be yours. I have training and coaching that I am willing to offer to, whatever woman wants me to sponsor her. And what's funny about that is when I was a teenager, I was a total tomboy. Like I was known as being the girl who would wear shorts and like Tevas to a wedding. I would never wear dresses. I wouldn't wear makeup. And it's funny though, that was also a fear thing because it was kind of looked down upon. My mom never wore makeup and I was involved in the church very heavily. And so there was something about being feminine that I just got these vibes that was not a good thing. So I kind of repressed all of my feminine wanting to wear makeup and look cute and dress up kind of stuff. And now I'm realizing, wait, those are like limiting beliefs about myself. And it's not who I truly want to be, is somebody who's scared or walks around with their shoulders hunched forward and isn't confident. So this is a huge step for me, probably just as big of a step as the bodybuilding thing, in that, you dress up, you wear makeup, you have to walk like you're holding a book on top of your head so it doesn't fall off and all of that kind of stuff. So that's super exciting. That'll be in September.
Awesome. We'll look forward to probably on ESPN or something, I guess, whatever channel things now. I'm sure you'll knock that out the park too, and you'll have a good time. You'll probably have a lot of fun getting there and also competing against the other ladies in the competition.
Well, and that's the cool thing is viewing these things. I mean, obviously it's a competition. That's how they set it up. But I love going into it with this idea of it's women empowering other women, and how can I show up in that space as somebody who's rooting for the other women that are on the stage, instead of trying to tear them down or one up them or whatever the case may be. So I want to come in with a different outlook as well.
That's outstanding. And I see you have 4 books on your website. Or do you want to talk about any of those or plug them anyway so the audience can get them?
Yeah. So I have 2 books that I wrote shortly after my divorce, and I published them. That was another walking through my fear kind of step, was kind of putting my story out there. And so those 2 were more kind of for my own healing and evolution. The other 2 are books that I've contributed to. So there's multiple authors that contribute. But actually what I'm working on now is my most kind of exciting book, which is about kicking the people-pleasing habit. So I'm close to being finished with that book. And that one I'm really excited about because it will touch on some stories in my life, but it's mainly meant to be a guide and to help other people. So that one's super exciting for me.
Awesome. I look forward to seeing that pop up on Amazon. And how can people get in contact with you if they want to have you either speak or just use you to get them over the hump of their fears?
Totally. So I am at Janice Burt, BURT.com. And that's my website where there's contact places, and you can shoot me an email or book a call or whatever it is that you want to do on there.
Awesome, Janice. This is great talking to you. It was awesome to hear your story. I can't wait to see what your next giant goal is after the pageant, because if that's going to be a big one, the next one will be hard to top that, maybe skydiving or something. But I'm not challenging. I'm just throwing things out there. And I can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you so much. Well, I am super scared of heights, so that wouldn't be a bad one to conquer. Thank you for having me.
Have a good day. And thanks for taking some of your time to be on the show.
My pleasure. I love talking.
I love listening and then asking crazy questions.
Oh, it's a perfect match. Look at that.
We should be on for hours then. This is good. So if you'd like, tell a little bit about your story to get the listeners involved here and get the listeners knowing about you a little bit.
Totally. Okay. So I will try to, I've been working on the concept of less is more and how to be concise. So let's see how I do. So my name is Janice Burt. I'm also known as Spanish Janice, and that is my business name. And the way that I got that name is because when I was a child, I lived in Mexico City for 5 years and absolutely fell in love with everything to do with Spanish and the Mexican people and food and culture and all of that. So I lived there. I moved back to the United States when I was 13 years old. So, for a lot of my impressionable years, I was in Mexico. And so that will just always have this near and dear place in my heart. And funny enough, in Mexico, because I was different from the majority of the kids that were around me, it actually, I was different good because, quote unquote, they just, everybody wanted to talk to me and be my friend and touch my hair because it was a different color than all of their hair. So I felt really pretty good about myself during that time of my life. And then I moved back to the United States and immediately fell off my pedestal because I was, bullied and made fun of in junior high. Like, I remember 3 girls, one of their pastimes was chasing me around the track during PE and trying to pants me, like literally pull my pants off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was a little bit of a transition for me, and I think emotionally scarred me a little bit. And so anyway, went through life, and I started realizing that I was just pretty much scared of everything. And so certain things that I would want to do, I just let the fear hold me back from doing. I ended up getting married fairly young. I was 20 and he was 19. And then, had 2 kids, went through life, and then thought that was going to be my life. Like, we set up these expectations of things like, oh, my life is going to look this way. And so I thought I would just be married forever. But then we got a divorce, and that was really the shift, kind of the transformation in my life. So that was about 9 years ago. And I realized, oh my gosh, I was a stay-at-home mom, and now I had to work. I had to figure out who I was, what I wanted to do. Like, I actually had to show up in life. I was very codependent in my relationship. So that's where Spanish Janice jumps in, because I thought, okay, well, what can I do? What skills do I have? So I went back to school for interpreting, and I became a court certified Spanish interpreter and started doing that. And then I just started doing all the things that had scared me to death to do when I was younger. I started doing all of them. And that has been my journey for the past 9 years, is just, if something scares me, do it.
Nice. Challenge accepted.
Pretty much.
That's outstanding. So what fears actually did hold you back? Is there any one or 2 in particular you want to talk about?
Oh my gosh, probably all of them, but mainly fear of rejection. That one that gets a lot of us, which is the fear of not being good enough, fear of failure, fear of judgment, what other people are going to think. And that was a big one that I mean, it's a journey, so I'm continually walking through it, but I definitely know that I am a recovering people pleaser. And so the interesting thing about that is, the more that I have built up trust and belief in myself, all of that has kind of waned, in the sense that if I'm focusing on how to make myself a better person, how can I grow and do the hard work of evolving emotionally and mentally and physically and spiritually, it's like, I don't care so much. I truly don't care so much what other people are going to say or going to think, because I am at peace.
That's awesome. And it's a great place to find yourself. Like you said, a lot of people fight that one fear, especially right there. What does everyone else in the room think of me at this time? If I say this, what will they think? And I think you tackling that fear has shown that you can have that resilience and move forward. And for everyone else, they can follow your footsteps and practice that and move forward as well.
Oh my gosh. Yes. It has been the most liberating thing, is living a life of authenticity and not wearing the masks and trying to be a chameleon, oh, what does this person want me to be? And what does this person want me to say? And how can I avoid conflict at all costs? And, um, and I had to learn that the hard way, where I really kind of sold my soul, so to speak, for external validation. And I just will never do it again.
And I think we see that a lot with a lot of the younger generation now on Instagram or TikTok. They sell their souls just to get likes or be that. It looks narcissistic from the outside for all the things they do to just try to get people to approve what they're doing. And I think a whole generation is going through that right now.
Oh, yeah. Man, this generation, I feel so bad. And I have 2 teenagers. But I just feel bad because of what they're exposed to. There's like, when I was a kid, there wasn't so much just out there at your fingertips at every second of every day, kind of speaking messages of you're not good enough, or, like you have to do this to be cool and you have to get this many likes. And yeah, it's rough.
I mean, you experienced being bullied when you went to middle school in the United States, the girls chasing you on a track. Hopefully it made you a faster runner, but you were able to go home at night and not have to have that in your face on your phone or on the computer and all the kids still saying stuff to you. You were able to shut it off until you had to get back to school the next day. Kids today don't have that, I guess that out to turn it off when they get out of that situation.
Exactly. And it's so addictive, being on social media and just grabbing the phone and scrolling without even thinking about it. And so if that type of behavior starts when you're young, I mean, it's really hard to not do it.
Right. That'd be a hard habit for them to break. I mean, even the youngest kids, babies now, they're in their car seats with tablets, so they're already out. They're on screen time already, and by the time they're teenagers and beyond, they don't know what to do with life to talk to someone new.
It's crazy. It really is. Yeah. So whenever I start getting too depressed about things like that, I always just go, okay, what can I do to create something that's the opposite of that?
Right.
So if that breeds disconnection and comparison and all these different things, well, what can I do to offset that, to breed connection, to make people realize truly how valuable they are. And so that's where I have found I like to put my efforts and my focus, because if I start focusing too much on the negativity of it, or, that side of stuff, it's not helping. It's more just worrying and this perpetual negative kind of perspective. So, and it's not to say to ignore those things, because obviously they are happening, but it's like, well, then what's the solution? The solution is for us to create something that's the opposite.
Right. Create a whole different thing to do, or a whole other place. And I think that'd be perfect for many, many people. It's disheartening to see some of them do what they do. So
Yeah.
You've been able to tackle some of your fears, and I know you said you're still recovering of those problems. What are some tips and tricks you've done to get through some of your biggest fears?
Oh, well, let's see. The first thing that I did after my divorce was I signed up to run a marathon. And the reason I did that is because I needed to do something kind of big to prove to myself that I could.
Welcome back, Janice Burt. We were talking about your tackling fear of running the marathon.
Oh, yes. So the reason that was super important for me to do is because I literally thought it was impossible. I would run around the block and just feel like I was going to fall over, and like I just didn't have enough air in my lungs to continue on. So I was like, how is it that these people are running mile after mile after mile? It just seems crazy. So I joined a running group and we started training, and sure enough, 4 months later or whatever, I ran a marathon, and it was just that building confidence in myself and setting a goal, showing up, being consistent in the trainings and doing everything that I needed to, and then just having faith that all of that put together was going to allow me to run this marathon. And I did, and that kind of got me hooked because I felt so empowered by the fact that here was this once seemingly impossible thing that I was actually able to accomplish. I was like, well, what's next? Obviously, I didn't die. I'm still here. I did something kind of cool. So what are the other things I could do? So another thing was public speaking. I had actually joined speech and debate in high school and was pretty good at it. I would go to these tournaments and compete. And then there was one contest or competition where I made it to the finals. And then during my speech, I forgot my lines completely. Like,
Oh, wow.
I couldn't remember probably what my name was if you would have asked me in that moment. And so after that happened, and I, just felt so horrible about it. Again, the fear of that ever happening again held me back from public speaking for about 20 years. I didn't even try. And
Wow.
I know. And mind you, this was something that I loved and it brought me joy. And I felt like I could do it. Like there was a little bit of a talent there, but I was so scared to ever forget my lines again that I just didn't do it. So as I started walking through all my fears, public speaking was another really big one. And I joined Toastmasters. I started giving speeches, and then I signed up to do other competitions because I wanted to make sure that I knew deep within that I was going to walk through these fears. It wasn't going to hold me back anymore. And interestingly enough, you would think that, okay, once you decide you're going to walk through your fears, everything's going to go really smoothly. But it really doesn't a lot of times. Like, I think it was my second speech that I gave. I started shaking violently, almost like I was having a grand mal seizure standing up. And it really was just the fear. I was so scared that it was, showing up on the outside. And I realized even after that speech that something that I thought was so horrible actually brought us all together, because after that speech, so many people came up to me and they thanked me. They were like, thank you for standing up there and speaking, even though you were shaking, because, when I speak, I sweat or I stammer and everybody started telling me about their fears. And it just made me realize that we're all capable of really facing our fears and walking through them. It's just a decision to do it.
Exactly. 2012, I was wounded in Afghanistan, and I was a runner before it just because I was in the Army, and I decided to start running marathons in memory of guys that I started with who didn't make it back. And then I got wounded, and the doctor told me I couldn't run anymore. So I took that as the challenge accepted, that I would make it to a marathon. So I trained while over there and got home in December. And by November the next year, I ran my first marathon after being wounded in Savannah. And I don't think I actually felt any of the miles. It was all adrenaline. I ran the whole thing just pumped up and knowing I was doing it. And at the end, I was for me, and I'm sure it was a great moment for you as well.
Oh my gosh, I love stories like that. See, like nothing really makes me happier or smile bigger when it's like the underdog rising up, in the sense of wounded, where you have these excuses as to why you wouldn't be able to or couldn't or whatever, but just having that inner strength and stepping out there and doing, again, the seemingly impossible. Like, to me, that's so inspirational and amazing. So that's awesome.
Thank you. What marathon did you do?
It was the Cal of Sacramento one. Why am I forgetting what it's called now?
Was it a rock and roll?
What's that?
Was it a rock and roll one?
No, it wasn't a rock and roll one. It's a main one that they have in Sacramento. They do it every December. And I remember the year that I did it, I think it was 2012. It happened to be raining half the time. So I was like, oh, this is great. We're running in the rain. And, but it's almost that same thing. Like you were talking about the adrenaline, and you're just like, you bring it on. I've trained for this. I'm here for it. Whatever's going to happen, sleet, snow, crazy heat, whatever, we're going to do it. It's
going to happen no matter what. I might be blacked out at the end of it, but it's going to be fun.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll deal with that when we get there.
Once I get the IV in me, I'll be all right. We'll be good.
Totally.
But still, that's outstanding. I think that's the California International Marathon that's out there.
Thank you. Yep, that's it.
Yeah,
yep.
That's a great course. I've heard from friends that ran it too. So congratulations to you on conquering that one. And I'm glad to see you didn't try to go for an ultra now, to try to run 100 miles or anything like that in the desert. But if you do get the conquering, I'll follow you.
That's so awesome. It's funny. I'm kind of a one and done it kind of a person. Like all of these different things that I've done, people keep telling me, you're going to get addicted. You're going to get addicted. Like they told me that about the marathon. Then I did a bodybuilding competition. They told me I'd get addicted to that. And I just know myself, and it's not going to happen. It's like, I just want to do these things to show up in a big way. And like I said before, to really prove to myself that a lot of the limitations that I put on my life are self-imposed, and they're things that they're illusions. They're not true. And, the more I can do things that stretch me and push me and just show me how truly powerful each of us are, because I believe all of us have that internal power and strength. That's what I just keep going back to. And that's why I keep.
That was awesome, chatting with Janice, learning her story and how she has tackled life through the changing patterns and taking challenges to herself. Be sure to visit her website and connect with her. So you know how we do this. Thank you for taking your time to spend with us on the Misfit Nation. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and share the link as much as possible. If you want to, please become a supporter to help carry this thing on. We appreciate you. If you know someone that would bring energy and a great story to the show, have them visit our website at misfitnation.com and reach out to us. Also, we're still trying to fill some slots for Veterans Day week. Have them go to the same spot, themisfitnation.com, and fill out the become a guest link, and we'll get them on here. So as always, till next time, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are Misfit Nation.